everybody. I haven't really done a YouTube video in quite a while, especially one that's about really just thanking everybody for watching and thanking everybody on every station, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Red Note. I'm on every single social media platform, so definitely want to thank everybody, and really just want to look into the fact that on every single platform it's a little different. Everybody likes everything. You know, there's people following, unfollowing, whatever they want to do. And definitely want to thank everybody for taking space and then giving that up whenever they need to. Because everybody has every right to, and then you follow along when they like. But what I'm going to talk about right now is just looking at the fact that I look at everything right now within social media and within just media in and of itself. I was thinking about it today that I'm not going to do anything like clean the car right now, because I actually am thinking about how pretty much how the whole idea of even just seeing things consistently as I would like a DVD when I was growing up, like that was it. Like VHSs, even whatever it is, cassette tapes, CDs, you had the instant gratification of just hearing that, the whole thing, but you actually had to listen to the whole thing to really enjoy it, and to really just be dissolved in it and ingratiated in it. And what I realize now is that social media in and of itself kind of just takes the meat of that out in a lot of ways, and in a lot of ways takes away the idea of the ad, what it really means, you know, the commercial, what it really does. I was always obsessed with the idea of memorizing commercials, and not necessarily because I love commercials or I hate them, but because commercials meant to me that idea of relief and giving myself a moment to now deeply think about what just happened on the show, on the movie, on whatever was there. That's what that time was for. Now, everybody else definitely has a different idea about that. Like, oh, I don't want anybody selling me the idea there. But literally, that's the only people you meet nowadays outside, anywhere else. You don't meet anybody else. Nobody else is going to talk to you except someone's trying to sell you something. Whether you're at Costco, whether you're out and about. Me doing laundry today, guess who I met? Somebody just trying to sell me some iPod thing. And kindly I said, no thank you. But literally, they were willing to sell it, and I said, I'm not buying anything on my own, really, outside of maybe what I need for just dress, attire, whatever I literally need. I didn't say the last part, but I was literally saying I'm not buying things on a normal basis even. Just here to pay for laundry. That's it. And that's my understanding to life now, that I think a lot of overall people do relate to, don't talk about. Not necessarily out of sadness, not out of depression, but an instant gratification gives us not only chemical reactions, but also a more, we have to get out of the fact that we feel horrible, that we were oppressed by all these history lessons, history books. Ugh. They were all there to teach us forcefully. Ugh. I mean, what's there is there. It's still there. And we're not going to talk about it, but it's the big elephant in the room that's still there. All those history books, K through 12, they're still there teaching. All those religious churches, temples, everything, they're still there. They're still up. Everybody that's, you know, whether or not we want to say someone like a musician, someone like an actor can do such horrible things, someone with a lens and protected in a religious institution can be much more protected than an actor. That's a reality. Like, even Scientologists can be much more protected than anybody else. like an actor, like a musician, you know. And the reality is, look at the Michael Jackson effect. Michael Jackson was talked about ad nauseum, but even there was so many people that weren't talked about. The biggest ones that I remember, that I grew up on listening to, I heard Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll Part 2 on every sports news event broadcast, when they broadcast the news, every single nightly news. Do 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 do, hey, do 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 do. That's all you heard. This is who won in sports today, and in the background, that's all you heard. That news, that music. They don't play that anymore because Gary Glitter did a lot of horrible shit in the 70s, and then when they caught him, they threw him to Vietnam to do more horrible shit, to be caught again. In 2000, that happened, and he did horrible shit again. So they didn't do anything to him here. They threw him somewhere else, and yet they're mad at people for exonerating themselves to other countries, but they didn't do that same shit to him. To do something for him horrible here, they threw him somewhere else to do more horrible shit to horrible people somewhere else. You got to think about that for a minute. Why don't you take care of business of someone that did horrible shit? That's a problem. Let's throw him to someone else in some other country. That'll fix it. How about actually taking care of your business of your own white people? You don't. You don't want to be accountable for them. And even Ian Watkins from Lost Prophets, same business. Going off him, I listened to Lost Prophets ad nauseum. I probably listened to them without knowing that there was a lot of shit going on until much later on. I think maybe almost a decade after, because I had ended up hearing just a random, YouTube video came up, and I was like, what's this about? And then I saw that he had done some horrible shit because fans and the family members came up and wanted and allowed that shit to happen. And that's on him for participating and doing shit like that, for allowing that to happen on his part. That's him allowing that shit to go on. And the fact that that's not regarded in the whole news factor is a problem. Because that shows in and of itself that in the acting community, in the musician community, but also the fact that in the religious and those communities, that we basically just say, we're not going to shame everybody. We'll pick and choose who we shame. Come back around for a minute, and we recognize that pretty much we don't really talk about too many things just on day to day. We're isolated, not necessarily out of necessity, but it's out of, the whole idea of public shaming. Like, we're publicly shamed just by ourselves. And I think, I want to thank all of you for either just watching things on YouTube, anywhere else, because I post everything on every single social platform I got. Whether it comes up immediately on the same day or it's posted on another day. I just try to make it the exact same length on every single platform so that it can be posted on there. Otherwise, it won't be posted because there's limits on certain ones. But I do want to thank all of you because some of this stuff is pretty deep shit, That's why my YouTube is called Deep Dives and Light Moments, because it's going to be both all at once, because our lives are like that. We think like that, we construct our thoughts like that, and we can enjoy that, or we can feel like, I'm obsessed. Why am I obsessed again in this? I'm obsessed because I love it. I grew up in an idea that I wouldn't have to, but there's so many things that are unanswered, so I just create it that way. And that's why I love every single minute of my moments in every day, because I get to have that opportunity to think. I get to have the opportunity to critically think and analyze. And I want to thank all of you who actually pay attention to that and don't just add to it by, on my YouTubes, for example, I get comments like, take that crap out of your nose. And thank you. I just say thank you because it's great. Because, everybody has their own opinion about everything. And that goes back to past things overall. Like, you're talking about history, if you want to say that, which I don't like that word too much because that's a man's thing, so to speak. But that's all, really. Thank you so much.